Alright guys, hello and welcome back to our tournament for Elixir and Gamble. Well actually not really welcome back so much as starting a brand new tournament for Elixir and Gamble. We are going against the Luca Goers and the Kilika Beast taking on the Albed Sykes. For some reason I thought we were in the middle of the tournament. I don't know why I thought that. But yeah, let's take a look at everything. We still got Nizarud in the midfield, so he's going to be rocking out, getting some experience, you know, all the good stuff. We're doing this weird thing. So I've got Nizarud in the midfield, right? And the whole idea I have behind this is potentially what I can do is like get him experience throughout all the tournaments and leagues we do. And essentially we had started with, hey, we're going to have one league and we're going to put him in the midfield. But as tournaments pop up, we've also been doing those. So it's kind of like we're playing him in the midfield for one league and also every single tournament that appears. So he's definitely getting a lot of play time, a lot more than we initially anticipated. But I think it's welcome. You know, I don't really hate it. You know, it's okay. So yeah, I mean that's what we're doing. Grave in the midfield though, he's going for the shot. This is obviously a very poor decision, but Luca Goers and poor decisions, it's, you know, peanut butter and jelly. They just go together, you know. It's a consistent thing you'll see. So yeah, let's how do we want to do this? Let's figure this out. It's funny actually. I haven't played Blitzball for about a week or two, so I'm kind of like this is my like get used to it game. Where I'm like, how do I play this game that I've played thousands of games of? You know, how do I do this thing? So yeah, let's use Deem here. Let's go to tried and trusty, good old faithful Iskin here. I think that'll be the way to go, just to get that initial goal. It's generally what we do anyways. We set up Iskin for that goal, get that initial kind of opportunity, and then maybe we look at Warbite for some, you know, some sort of shot. Unfortunately though, Duram able to wither through Iskin, get the ball, and also if you notice there, have Iskin's shoot, which is very much not good. Nizarud goes for the tackle there, does miss. It threw me off because Nizarud and Iskin have the same model. In my brain I was like, oh, Iskin only has one tackle equipped, just hit like B and A and then you're good. But that is not the case. Circle and X for those uninitiated into the Xbox controller, you know, archetyped. But yeah, let's see what we can do here. So Iskin's wither. This is really challenging actually because I don't know if we have a really good opportunity to like kill time. Let's see what we can do. There's got to be something, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. I think that's yeah, it's gonna be our best bet. Let's I don't know. Let's see what we can. I don't really know. You know, like it's actually really challenging because I don't really have a midfielder that can control this very well. Like Nizarud probably isn't the, you know, star of controlling games. He's also a goalie, so that would be why. But we've got to figure out how to unwither Iskin. He's only got 17 shoot. I guess we got to figure out how to unwither Iskin, like kill enough time to unwither him, or we just need to look into how do we get Larvae to goal. Let's pass the Nizarud. Let's make this little bridge. So essentially we're trying to open up the midfield here. Or at least get their midfielder away from Warbite, and then maybe we could open up a Warbite for an opportunity. The whole thing is we've killed a lot of time just swimming around, and that means if we miss this, they don't have a ton of time to kind of get back and score on us, which is always welcome. With our tackle 2 coming through though, and it does connect by 1 endurance. Warbite kind of keeping strong, maintaining the wall, you know, stopping everyone where he can, and he does get that goal. We're going to go up 1-0. That is always good. So with only a minute left, Grave is going to push midfield here. Let's see what he does. He's going to have a 4-person encounter, and he's going to try to shoot. This is all sorts of, like, what are you doing? But, I mean, if he thinks he can make it, like, you know, more power to him. If every single person misses the touch, then potentially he could have made it. But not, it's just not likely, you know? Like, it's so unlikely. We're going to actually try to get the defender in here. I'm going to try a different strategy. And that's the strategy of, I hope Duram gets the ball because she's not good. Okay, good. I needed Duran to get the ball there because now she has to stop and pass, and there won't be enough time to actually get a shot off. And it's also going to be difficult if there's 3 people in front of her. That's, you know, that's going to cause some sort of hindrance, I would argue. But yeah, we're going to go 1-0 leading into the second half. Cool. A little bit of experience for them. A little bit for us. A level up for Deem. Level 50. More endurance, pass, shoot, catch, block, attack, HP. I should have just said more everything except speed. I probably shouldn't even say more because arguably sometimes the stats decrease. Which actually I will say I don't think it actually highlights if a stat decreases, only if it increases. I'd have to double check that. But if you guys have, you know, used someone like Wedge, I think he's a good example. I believe his shoot gradually decreases. Not substantially, but like by 1 or 2. So you'll notice like he'll increase to I think 23 or 24, and then he goes back to like 17, I believe. So some of those stats do decrease. Keep his speed decreases throughout the game. Obviously not substantial. He's a goalie. What's the biggest, like, I'm trying to think what's the biggest like showcase of something decreasing in the game. I can't actually recall because there is some examples of it, but I don't know if anyone becomes completely useless. There has to be someone. I'm forgetting someone I know. It's not normally the stat decreases I was looking out for. It's normally the increases, so I could get a really good team. But yeah, that is regardless, that is actually a factor. Like stats do decrease as you play the game, and you know, the stats aren't based on anything. They're stapled to the player. So no matter what action you take, they're always going to be the same. A little bit unlike Final Fantasy X-2, where I think they are also stapled to the player, but you can level up individual ones at individual times. Which I think like in terms of stats, I mean, this is a little bit unfair to compare the two, but Final Fantasy X-2 has a really good idea of how to spread out stats. Like in Blitzball, I really like that, but it's like everything else I don't like. You know, like specifically the manager mode of the game, because it inherently changes so much to where it's just a different mini game. You know, because it could be anything happening. Like at that point, like where it's, you know, you're just managing the players and they're just, you know, moving around themselves. So there's like, I don't know, that's a pretty big difference. I do think they should have had different options, but I do understand as well how that would have caused some difficulty with some of the stats, because there's actually relationships between players that you have to manage, like a number, like for like, you know, this is how much teamwork they have and stuff like that. So if you're manually controlling that, I don't know what that would affect, because I think it affects like how often like they can like set up each other for a shot, but and like different things. But it would have been maybe difficult to do that, like within, I guess, the guise of controlling the players in 10-2. I think it would have been possible though. I think the whole thing with 10-2 and like Final Fantasy X, like the difference in Blitzball, even if you were controlling the players, you would just have like when you stop and have dribble, sleep, or dribble, shoot, pass, like those options, you would just have a much more substantial menu. If you were controlling a player from 10-2, like you would have setup for shot, things like that, and like the distance required and chance of success, and they could have added substantially more depth to the game, and they definitely had that option. But I think maybe it was just easier on development to just be like, hey, you know what, it's manager mode, sorry, like that's all it is. Because I mean, inherently, like this is much more like easier or much more difficult to develop, like the I think like the controlling the player kind of Blitzball. Like when you make the computer do both sides, it seems like it'd be much easier. You know, I mean, whether it's good or bad is, you know, always subjective. I'm really like wishing they would have a, you know, some sort of like independent game, or I think the most likely iteration would be a mini game in the Final Fantasy 14 MMO. But like, you know, something cool. They brought Triple Triad to Final Fantasy 14, but I think that's a lot easier to port over than a game like Blitzball. At least it's easier to port over than Final Fantasy X Blitzball. Final Fantasy X 2, I think, would be super easy. But also thematically, I don't know. To be honest, I think I've played a little bit of 14. Honestly, I think I've played like 50 or 60 hours, so I guess I've played quite a bit. But I don't know how that fit like thematically in the world of 14. Because it seems like, you know, a lot of Blitzball is explained by the world of Spira, you know, like, oh, fireflies and breathing underwater. But, like, that's not a thing in other Final Fantasies, so you kind of have to explain that. Which I think is possible. But, yeah. But you got Iskin leveling up, level 49 with more endurance, pass, shoot, HP. Man, killing it. It's good stuff. Jasu's contract at the Kilika Beast has expired. He's going to re-sign for 9 games. We're going to see Dado's contract also expire. He's going to re-sign for 10 games. We got to figure out what we're doing with the Kilika Beast after this league. But yeah, Kairi's contract at the Albert Sykes has expired. She's re-signing for 10 games. Pacuado's contract expired. He's re-signing. Dude, a lot of contracts. Belucha, gone. Wedge now in the Goers. So Kilika Beast win 4-2. We win 3-0. And we're going to face the Guado Glories next. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.